Just introduce, I have 5 minutes, as Enrique said, that I have 5 minutes to present the CIHEAM and the CIHEAM Zaragoza and our activity, the most important activity, okay? So let me share my screen and we will start, okay? Okay, let's make a presentation. Okay, compartir. I don't know if you see my screen.
We see that you have started. Yes, we see.
Sí,
Okay,
sí, se ve, sí.
Okay. You see it in a big screen or a double screen?
We see the double.
Double. So let me move this one. Configure the visualization. Let me change this one because I have two screens. And now, one screen.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much. And let me move. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Well, the aim of this 5 minutes that I will present to you with CIHEAM Zaragoza. I know many of you connected or out are with in our panel. They know exactly what is CIHEAM and what is CIHEAM Zaragoza. As you know, CIHEAM is the acronym of Centre International de Haute Étude Académique Méditerranéen, is an international intergovernmental organization acting as a key player in multilateral cooperation for sustainable agri-food system. We have our aim is to have capacity building, especially at CIHEAM, providing complementary economic and technical training, and we have international bridge, fostering cooperation among agriculture leaders with a special focus on the needs of the global South. Okay, so let's talk a bit of history. You know that CIHEAM is founded in 62 by the OECD and the Council of Europe. Then in 62, we roll up with the establishment of the first two institutes, Bari and Montpellier. Then in 69, we have the establishment of CIHEAM Zaragoza here in the campus of Auladey. So at the present day, we have a headquarters in Paris, and you are 4 institutes in each place. So you can see in this map, our headquarters is in Paris. We have a center in Zaragoza, we have a center in Montpellier, in Bari and Chania, and we are 30 member countries around the south and east of Mediterranean. Okay, so let's focus and zoom on our institute of our CIHEAM headquarters in Spain. Is, as I told you, founded in 69. The Spanish headquarters of CIHEAM is strategically located in Zaragoza, in Aragon. It operates within the Auladey campus, one of the Spain's largest and most prestigious complexes of agri-food research and technology. As you can see, we have here the hub of our campus, especially the fact that we have near important two research centers like Auladey Experiment Station, and Agri-Food Research and Technology Center for Aragon is a very important issue for us, especially when we collaborate for them, for the students, and for all kind of activity we do here. Okay. So if we focus on our human capital, we are 25 working in the institute, around 52% of women and 48 men. As academic excellence, we are 84% hold higher education degree, and 28% hold PhD or undertaken a PhD study. We have here 4 important units, training units. I'm the head of this unit. Then we have a project units, IT and digitalization unit, economic management and the human resources, and the communication and documentation unit. Okay. So our 5 core area specialization, we have area on economics and development, fishery and agriculture, water, soil and environment, plant protection, and animal production. Okay. So the 2 most important pillars for our actions here in the institute are the first one on education and the other one on project. In education, especially in academic capacity building, we organize master degrees, programs, and intensive advanced courses. And our target audience is future leaders, students, and early career researchers. For the project, our focus is especially on applied research and innovation. Our primary format is technical assistance, development initiatives, creation of collaborative networks, and our target audience is institutions, especially policy makers and industry. Okay. So to finish, this is our data for the last academic year 25 and 26. You can see is around 1,500 total participants, including seminar, advanced course, and masters. We had around 69 nationalities represented in our activities, equilibrium between female and male, 58% and 42%. And we gave around 50 master student scholarship. We are very active in 30 projects. We organized last year 10 advanced courses with around 186 participants. We organized 18 seminar with two symposium, and we reached a presentation of around 1,000 participants. And we organized 2 major conferences with the participation of 282 attendees. This is our data, and this is our CIHEAM activities that we do here. So I hope that this seminar will be nice for you. And if you collaborate with us, you will share our mission. Okay, so this is our famous phrase: sharing knowledge and feeding the future. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ramzi. It's time to continue now. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Enrique Playán. I'm a collaborator of the Institute. I'm a researcher by training, and I do research here on campus on irrigation, agriculture, water management, things like that. Today we're gathering here because we are celebrating World Water Day. World Water Day was actually introduced by United Nations as an observance day on March 22nd, that highlights the importance of fresh water. And the theme for this year of the World Water Day was water and gender. Safe drinking water and sanitation as fundamental human rights and critical enablers of gender equality. And the topic of the webinar today is governing water scarcity in the Mediterranean, the challenge of protecting the environment and securing water for society. So we are going to be discussing this topic, and we want to make sure that, first, that the environment and society are allies and not counterparts. So we need to discuss how to make those interests compatible in our societies. Then we have to depart from the understanding that Mediterranean societies devote a very large share of their water resources to water security. And we do it with very important exports, fresh produce and olive oil and other products, but at the same time importing increasing amounts of water. And here in the Mediterranean, we are all net importers of virtual water by a very large amount, and since the 1950s, 60s, right? So we have a long history of that. In Europe also, from the European perspective, we have the Water Framework Directive, a major piece of regulation here in Europe, which was recently complemented by the Nature Restoration Law, complex endeavor to restore nature in Europe, and the EU Water Resilience Strategy, which for the first time in the European Union, presents water scarcity as a problem, right? The Water Framework Directive was very much concerned about water quality, a major problem in Europe too, but now we see the difficulties and the complexities of scarcity threatening Europe, and then a response is to be performed. I'm going to introduce the panelists. They're 3 distinguished persons, doctors, all of them in water-related specialties, and they have granted me the permit to address them by their given name. So this is going to simplify the presentations. The first of our speakers is Khaled Mahmoud AbuZeid. He's Regional Director of Technical Problems in the Arab Water Council. More than 3 decades of experience in water resources management in key regional roles, including Water Directive at CIDARE, technical leadership positions supporting Arab and African water initiatives. Our second panelist today is Heba Alhariry. She is a Land and Water Officer, FAO, in Faorne, which is the regional office for the Near East and North Africa. And she has a pivotal role within the Water Scarcity Initiative team, and we will discuss that later. She focuses on sustainable water resources management and contributes to the FAO mission supporting countries in the region in progressing in water and food security. The third speaker will be Miguel Ángel García Vera, which is the head of the planning office here at the Ebro River Basin Organization, which is the oldest in the world and is 100 years old this year. So congratulations on the celebration, Miguel Ángel. Miguel Ángel is a hydrogeologist by training, and his responsibility is to face the challenges of water planning amidst intense public participation. He's in the middle of a public participation round these days, conflicting interests, and climate change. So I find it quite interesting that we have complementarity in the trajectories of the panelists, but at the same time, differences. And we have perspectives which are institutional, technical, planning. Regionally, we are addressing Egypt, the Arab Water Council, the Near East and Northern Africa, and Spain and the European Union. And then we are concerned about topics like water resources management, sustainability, scarcity, planning, allocation, and water quality. We're going to start the panel with initial statements by each of the panelists. I requested them to devote about 3 minutes each to present some statements, some remarks about review the topic of the webinar of World Water Day from their own perspective and experience. So, Khaled, if you will, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation to participate in this webinar. Distinguished colleagues, partners, on behalf of the Arab Water Council, it's an honor to address you today on World Water Day 2026. We gather at a critical juncture for the Mediterranean basin. Our region is a climate hotspot, warming 20% faster than the global average. Today, we're not just discussing a future risk, we are confronting an active daily reality where fresh water is becoming our most precious and most threatened resource. Of course, the Arab region, which includes 8 countries in the Mediterranean, is home to some of the most water-stressed nations on the planet. We account for 5% of the global population, yet we survive on barely 1% of the world's renewable fresh water. Across the Mediterranean, the math of survival is being rewritten by falling water tables, saltwater intrusion into coastal aquifers, and unpredictable precipitation. The core dilemma here is society versus nature. This is what we're discussing today. And this theme of the webinar strikes at the very heart of modern water governance. How do we protect our fragile ecosystems while securing water for our societies? For decades, the standard response to water scarcity was to extract more, but we have reached the ecological limits of that approach. Overpumping groundwater and diverting rivers have degraded our wetlands, accelerated desertification, and threatened biodiversity. At the Arab Water Council, we believe that viewing this as a zero-sum game where we must choose between a glass of water for a citizen and a drop of water for a river is a false dichotomy. Ecological health is the foundation of water security. If our watersheds, and not just within our Mediterranean region, but sometimes outside the Mediterranean region, especially for transboundary river basins that may originate outside or upstream of the Mediterranean region. So if our watersheds are degraded, our infrastructure fails. Social stability is the foundation of environmental stewardship, and a society facing acute thirst or food insecurity cannot successfully prioritize long-term conservation. True water governance requires us to bridge this gap. It forces us to transition from crisis management to integrated risk and demand management. To achieve this balance in the Mediterranean, the Arab Water Council advocates for 4 immediate governance shifts. First, to embrace the water, energy, food, ecosystem nexus approach. We can no longer manage water in silos. Agriculture policies, energy production, and urban planning must be integrated with environmental flows and environmental protection and ecosystem protection. Agriculture uses over 80% of our region's water. The Arab region is actually importing also about 373 billion cubic meters of water in virtual water in food as of the latest 2020 Arab State of the Water Report data. So we must produce more crop per drop through smart irrigation and drought resilient crops. We need to also, on the second pillar, to scale non-conventional water resources. The Mediterranean must become a global hub for the circular water economy. This means treating and reusing 100% of our wastewater for agriculture and landscape restoration, alongside powering desalination with renewable solar energy while protecting our marine environments. We need to strengthen transboundary cooperation. Over 2/3 of the Arab region's surface water originates outside our borders. Shared waters must be a bridge for peace, not a trigger for conflict. And fourth, inclusive governance, including furthermore, as we celebrate World Water Day under the banner of water and gender, we must elevate the voices of women and youth at the decision-making level. And women are primary managers of household water. They must be the architects of its governance as well. So, distinguished guests, governing water security in the Mediterranean is the ultimate test for our regional solidarity. No single country can solve this alone. I hope this webinar contributes to ecosystem-aware water security policies. The Arab Water Council remains fully committed to collaborating with our Mediterranean partners to ensure that where water flows, both our societies and our environments thrive together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Khaled. We move on to Heba. What are your parting remarks, please?
Thank you very much, Enrique. I'm very pleased to be here with you today in the occasion of the World Water Day. And as you mentioned, the theme of the World Water Day, Water for Gender, is both, actually, I would say, as a woman who have worked in the water sector in the Arab region, is very close to my heart. And I think it's also very timely and very essential, because after several years of experiences in the sector, in the water and agriculture fields, I still see that there is a need for a fundamental shift on how we account for gender considerations in the water sector in general, but also in particularly in the initiation and the planning of flagship water programs and water projects. If we looked at some of the statistics that are actually produced by FAO, particularly for our region, we can see that, for example, women are the most, they form actually most of the agricultural labor in the MENA region. For example, if we took Egypt, the women comprises 36% of the labor force in the agriculture sector compared to men, who are contributing to around 22%. Yet the needs and the challenges that are faced by the different genders are often neglected in the planning and the implementation evaluation of programs based on several gender biases that have developed over a long period of time and require real changes. And this is where I would say the role of gender transformation approaches come to be handy in identifying the challenges and also in reconfiguring the power relationships that ensures and promotes equality between men and women, and ensures that all these gender considerations and elements are well captured to have a more sustainable and impactful, I would say, results from the activities and the achievements that we work on. Now, with respect to the topic of the webinar on governing water and the impacts on society, I actually cannot agree more that water scarcity, in my view, it's not just an environmental and technical challenge. It is also rather a deeply social and economic challenge as well, because it actually includes several socioeconomic dimensions that cannot be overlooked. And from my perspective and over also years of experiences, one key message I would say that stands out is that governing water scarcity does not actually mean managing the physical resource and just narrowing the supply and demand gaps. It's rather managing also and taking into account the historical water rights, the water tenor, making better water allocation decisions from a broader perspective that takes into account transparency and participatory approaches to ensure that we are leaving no one actually behind, and ensuring that we are offering opportunities for reducing inequalities, reducing vulnerabilities across the society, and particularly with respect to the rural areas. And having worked for FAO for more than 5 years now, the focus on rural development is one of the key areas that FAO actually focus on, and we always try to ensure that we put the livelihoods of smallholders and small farmers into the spotlight while we're working on the different programs, noting then that the majority of in the developing countries are actually smallholders and small farmers, so they are considered the backbone of the agriculture system, and they are managing over than 75% of the agricultural holdings. And therefore, advocating for inclusive governance, I would say, is the first step to ensuring that we have sustainable agri-food systems, accounting for advancing the community-based water management structures through water user associations and also CSOs on the ground, where both men and women are actually playing a pivotal role in the application, in the decision-making process, and also participating equally in the capacity development activities, including in farmer field schools. I was lucky to work with different also development partners, including IMI, on the development of a technical brief on how to advance gender mainstreaming, particularly for the reuse of treated wastewater, which I would also be happy to share the link with all the audience in and to speak about it, focusing on a people-centered approach that ensures equality and ensure that we can actually achieve resilient agri-food systems through the protection of ecosystems and the protection and the involvement of all actors. I will stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Heba. It's time now for Miguel Ángel to tell us his initial remarks.
Muy bien, estupendo. Muchas gracias, Enrique, y sobre todo al CIEHAM por la oportunidad de invitar en este magnífico webinario y felicitar al CIEHAM por esta iniciativa y esta celebración compartida del Día Mundial del Agua. Desde luego, para mí es un auténtico lujo poder compartir esta sesión y además con ponentes que han hecho unas presentaciones de tanta claridad y de tanto nivel. Yo en esta primera intervención quería un poco destacar que mi aportación sobre todo procede de un organismo de Cuenca, que es la Confederación Hidrográfica del Ebro, un organismo de Cuenca que efectivamente, como bien decías, Enrique, hace un par de semanas cumplimos 100 años y para nosotros es un auténtico placer poder decir que somos una organización centenaria y que eso es gracias sobre todo a que durante 100 años hemos sido capaces de prestar un servicio a la sociedad, que en definitiva es la idea que nos une a todos, ¿no? Que nuestro trabajo tiene que ser reflejar ese compromiso para dar el mejor servicio de agua a nuestros ciudadanos. Y luego también la idea de evolución. Nosotros lo tenemos muy presente. No es lo mismo la sociedad a la que atendió la Confederación en aquel 1926, donde era una sociedad en la cual había hambrunas, había unos problemas de falta de alimentos, de mortandades muy fuertes, a la sociedad que tenemos ahora. Y lo tenemos muy presente y cuando tenemos foros internacionales lo vemos porque cada país tenemos nuestras circunstancias y nuestra situación. Por lo tanto, siempre decimos que las soluciones hidrológicas siempre depende de cada uno dónde está, y lo que a lo mejor para uno es buenísimo, para otro es fatal. Entonces hay que ser muy respetuoso con las circunstancias de cada uno. La Confederación tenemos misiones, simplemente un pequeño apunte, de planificación hidrológica. Hacemos la planificación, pero no solamente de la Confederación, sino la hacemos de toda la administración hidráulica, con lo cual tenemos la obligación de tener en nuestros documentos las visiones de todas las administraciones, ya sean locales, regionales o estatales, también en un marco internacional, nosotros en la Unión Europea. Y luego, por supuesto, contando con todos los usuarios que llamamos, que son los que usan el agua, y la sociedad en general. Esto es fundamental. Este es el punto de partida. Intentar pensar todos para avanzar. Eso que decía Enrique, de buscar las soluciones, ¿no? ¿Qué hacemos? Esto es una cuestión que hay que trabajar. No hay varitas mágicas. En cada caso hay que pensar dónde se está y ver cómo avanzar en un ciclo temporal razonable. Además, la Confederación se ocupa de dar permisos, autorizaciones, de las redes de control, la relación con los usuarios del agua, gestiona obras que son lo que llamamos de interés general, es decir, los ingenieros de la Confederación están construyendo presas importantes y están gestionando las presas que se hicieron en el pasado, con lo cual tenemos una visión de la gestión del agua muy completa y además colaboramos con las administraciones locales y autonómicas en los temas de su competencia, como es el abastecimiento y la depuración. Bueno, la cuenca del Ebro, simplemente puedo dar unas pequeñas cifras para que lo conozcáis y lo conozcan todos los que están escuchando. Somos el 17% de España, 85.000 kilómetros cuadrados, y gestionamos un recurso en régimen natural, el agua disponible, que es de 15.500 millones de metros cúbicos año. Ese es el agua que tenemos y con eso atendemos a 5 millones de habitantes, que es el 10% de España, 950.000 hectáreas de regadío, que somos el 25% de las hectáreas de España. Producimos energía en concepto de un 25% de España. Además, damos un caudal ecológico en la desembocadura, que es del orden del 23% de la aportación al régimen natural, que ya lo querrían muchos ríos mediterráneos para ello. Y además en un estado de las aguas que, digamos, despunta en comparación con muchas otras cuencas europeas. Tenemos el 70% de las masas de agua en buen estado. Bueno, el reto que tenemos por delante efectivamente es ese desarrollo sostenible, conciliar esa protección medioambiental y además con seguridad para los recursos hídricos. Esto lo sabemos todos los que trabajamos el agua y esto estamos día a día pensando qué fórmulas hay para conseguirlo. Para mí hay unas ideas básicas de partida para poder hablar de estas soluciones. Y es primero que tenemos que tener en cada país unas normas claras de juego, unas leyes claras que organicen bien las reglas del juego. Tiene que haber instituciones solventes que se ganen el prestigio de la sociedad, que la gente confíe en ellas, y esto se consigue con mucho trabajo. Y luego tiene que haber procedimientos claros, procedimientos administrativos, procedimientos legales, procedimientos sociales. Y luego tenemos que tener datos, información. En la cuenca del Ebro, cuando se empezó a planificar y a trabajar a principios del siglo XX, se dieron cuenta que no había información y lo primero que hicieron fue poner redes de control para poder tener información de calidad. Hoy en día eso está superado, pero seguimos trabajando muchísimo para tener la mejor información posible y cada vez más. Rigor técnico, ese lo ponen los técnicos, todos los técnicos estamos involucrados con las administraciones. Lo que apuntabais antes de la participación. La participación es esencial en la planificación. No hay planificación sin participación de verdad. Participación que dé poder a la gente, que no sea simplemente cubrir un expediente. Y luego corresponsabilidad, ¿no? Que todos los agentes se responsabilicen de la toma de decisiones que les compete. Estas ideas básicas, y aquí lo voy a dejar, para mí es el punto de partida. Punto de partida que algo que tiene que surgir, algo que surge cada ciclo de planificación, cada plan hidrológico, cada decisión, cada decisión administrativa. Si tenemos estas ideas claras, yo creo que iremos por buen camino. Si esto no está claro, pues ya empezaremos a tener problemas gordos. Y aquí lo dejo, Enrique, no quiero alargarme más.
Thank you very much for the three of you. Very interesting initial remarks and very complex challenges, sufficiently complex so that it could completely be unfeasible to face these challenges with only half of the population. This is why today's day, the Day of Gender in Water, is particularly welcome and particularly needed given the complexity of what we're facing. Miguel Ángel was talking about evolution, about how the organization has been changing the focus in this 100-year-old long story. But I would like to ask Khaled about the evolution of the Arab Water Council in terms of efforts. How have the efforts evolved in these years of work in the Arab Water Council, in different projects, in different problems? What has been the transition then?
Thank you. A very interesting question, actually. Well, since its inception in 2004, the Arab Water Council has evolved from a regional platform for dialogue into what we could say a powerhouse for technical and policy innovation. Our journey began with a commitment to evidence-based management anchored by our flagship Arab State of the Water reports, which we publish regularly, and the Arab Geographic Information Room. To transfer data into action, we moved beyond mapping to active resource optimization through our program on improved agricultural water management by applying evapotranspiration monitoring systems. We utilize satellite-based systems to ensure that the agriculture sector, which is the Mediterranean's largest water consumer, operates with maximum precision. By the second decade, we realized that technology alone was not enough. Our focus shifted to institutional reform, regional strategy development, culminating in the Arab Strategy for Water Security until year 2030, under the umbrella of the League of Arab States. We began advocating for good water governance, addressing transparency, accountability, inclusiveness, and the socio-economic value of water through several initiatives, such as also the Climate Risk Nexus Initiative and the SDG Climate Nexus Facility. This evolution is mirrored in our robust governance structure. The Arab Water Council itself is guided by a General Assembly of all members and a board of governors that reflects the diversity of the water sector to ensure an inclusive transition. The board is composed of 5 distinct categories of membership. First category is government and public organizations from the 22 Arab countries. The second category is regional and international organizations working in the water sector. The third one is scientific research and academic institutions, and the fourth sector is the category is the private sector and consulting firms, and the fifth and last category is the civil society and non-governmental organizations and even individual experts. Today we are scaling up solutions developed under our non-conventional water resources policy briefs that we developed, brackish water guidelines that we developed, the Rewater program for regional dialogues on water reuse in the Arab region, and the acceleration of aquifer storage and recovery, which was actually headed by Dr. Heba when she was at the Arab Water Council. However, our most lasting impact lies in human capital. The Arab Water Council conducts regular hydrodiplomacy training to address transboundary water issues, fostering cooperation over shared water resources, in addition to other leadership capacity building programs in the water sector under its established Arab Water Academy, hosted here also by the Arab Water Council. And parallel to this, our Arab Water Council Youth Network and participation in other innovative camps are training the next generation to scale up innovative solutions such as nature-based solutions and others. This cumulative progress is always showcased through our series of Arab Water Forums, which we organize every 3 years, and which serve as the premier regional stage for high-level political commitments. So from 2004 until today, the Arab Water Council has proven that by combining high-tech tools with a multi-stakeholder governance model, we can really secure a resilient Mediterranean for all in the water sector. Thank you.
Very interesting. Heba, I've been looking at the activity of the FAORNE, the FAO regional office near East and North Africa, and basically busy with South-South cooperation in for water. And I see that there is an initiative on water scarcity. How is that contributing to the problems of governance and to the problems of society and the environment in the Mediterranean?
Thank you, Enrique, for this question. Maybe just to start, maybe just let me quickly highlight how FAO framework is actually anchored around what we call 4 betters. And these 4 betters are basically a better production, which would also lead to better nutrition, and considering a better environment, which will eventually lead to a better life. So all these 4 betters, around those 4 elements, each regional office at FAO, they have developed their regional priorities according to the needs of the region. And for the Office of Near East and North Africa, we actually have 4 main priorities, which kind of provide the overarching objectives of the office, working towards a regional priority 1 on rural transformation, a regional priority 2 on better nutrition, regional priority 3 on greening agriculture, which is basically looking at integrated land and water resources management, taking into account the importance of ecosystem and land restoration, considering climate change impacts, and focusing on water scarcity challenges. And the 4th priority is actually focusing more on resilience, which is basically an element that is actually also needed in our region, given the emergency context and conflict context settings that we do have due to the geopolitical challenges that we face in our region. So the water scarcity as an initiative falls under the regional priority 3 for greening agriculture. It's a flagship initiative that has been running actually since 2013. So we have more than 12 years of work where we have been supporting countries in the Near East and North Africa in addressing the most challenging and pressing water-related challenges. The initiative is actually operating in a kind of a well-structured mechanism that is builds mainly on partnerships. Which was initiated during the launch of the initiative through a pledge that was actually signed by more than 20 partners coming together to work on water-related challenges across the region and joining efforts. Now we have a dedicated water scarcity program that actually runs in parallel with some of those partners who gets updated every couple of years to kind of prioritize what are the main actions that are required by the partners, which is currently funded also by the Swedish government through the CEDA program. So the focus of the initiative basically goes around first narrowing the supply and demand gaps. On working on the supply side, we work on promoting the use of non-conventional water resources, particularly the safe use of treated wastewater, through ensuring that we have the proper safe safeguards that ensure safe utilization for this water with respect to the health of public health or even ecosystem health. And we do that through the development of sanitary safety plans across different countries in the region. We also work on the aspect of non-conventional water resources on exploring the opportunities of the utilization of the desalination in agriculture. We have worked on the development of a flagship publication which should come out very soon, describing those opportunities from different elements, but also looking at the challenges, including the social challenges and the challenges of decentralization of such systems and how they are going to be impacting the environment. On the demand side, we also work on enhancing and improving the utilization of water productivity in general by looking at ways to advance, for example, the utilization of water accounting techniques, the crop per drop, also how to work with farmers on the implementation of farmer field schools where new approaches and new climate smart approaches are being taught to ensure that we have a much better productivity for different crops that are measured and then also well anchored in these farmer field schools to ensure the sustainability of these practices by the farmers, and that the uptake of the farmers are actually solid to change and shift the mindsets. We also know that we cannot work on narrowing the gap between supply and demand without looking into the governance aspects, and particularly the cross-sectoral governance between water and agriculture. And this is why also the initiative have been working closely with the League of Arab States, which represents the political umbrella here in the Arab region, particularly with the Water Ministerial Council. And we managed to have a kind of a declaration that was issued in Cairo in 2013 to hold a joint ministerial council between water and agriculture every 2 years to identify the cross-cutting issues between of priorities where the different partners and the countries should be working on. And FAO is currently playing a very important role in a kind of supporting what we call the high-level technical committee, which is the technical arm of this joint ministerial council, which gets held on an annual basis and helps in identifying those priorities. Then we develop through the initiative positioning papers on what are those priorities, what are the main guidelines that are required to ensure that these priorities are addressed. We pilot some of those priorities and then we present those successful pilots across the different countries to enhance the upscaling. With respect to the South-South collaboration, and also to ensure that all of these efforts are not only tied into one region, we were mandated by FAO Director General after the success of the Water Scarcity Initiative to take a further step, cross-regional step, where we established the Inter-Regional Technical Platform on Water Scarcity to advance cross-regional collaboration. So the platform also brings together the different actors, the different partners from a global perspective, building on the current regional initiatives in different FAO regional offices, understanding the gaps and kind of forming what we call like a center of excellence around that brings together the different actors in an action-oriented approach. We have been working also on different topics, but the main topic during the previous biennium was on integrated water solutions, advancing water, energy, food, and ecosystem dynamics with climate change. So these are like some of the examples that we currently work on, and I'm happy to elaborate on any of them in your next question. Back to you, Enrique.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Miguel Ángel, it's your time. You're running the planning of the Ebro River Basin. Ebro is a privileged water river in the Mediterranean in terms of water availability, but the scarcity is a relative term, and I'm sure you deal with the scarcity too. How do you do it in this planning exercise you're currently doing?
Muy bien, Enrique, gracias. A ver, el objetivo de la gestión del agua en una cuenca mediterránea es luchar contra la variabilidad hidrológica espacial y temporal. Este es nuestro objetivo. Tenemos un agua que se produce cuando no nos interesa y donde no nos interesa y muchas veces se produce mucha, otras pocas. Entonces tenemos que intentar acondicionar estas circunstancias naturales al uso humano. Yo siempre me gusta decir en 1906, cuando el que creó la Confederación, ingeniero Manuel Lorenzo Pardo, vino a trabajar a Zaragoza, entonces hubo una sequía muy importante en aquellos años y los que estudian a ese personaje dicen que posiblemente esa vivencia en una sequía tan importante condicionó toda su visión de la gestión del agua y a partir de ahí vino toda una política hidrológica que dio lugar a las confederaciones. Por lo tanto, la lucha que tenemos los que estamos en el mundo del agua para sobrellevar estas vicisitudes, sobre todo en los países de clima mediterráneo, esa es la esencia, ese es nuestro ADN, es lo que nos hace trabajar en una dirección adecuada. En el caso de la cuenca del Ebro, ese es ha seguido la pauta de toda nuestra historia, luchar contra esa variabilidad para intentar domar, entre comillas, el agua. ¿Cómo? Al principio, pues, con construcciones de infraestructuras hidráulicas a gran escala. Se construyeron muchas presas, muchos canales muy importantes para intentar que las 400.000 hectáreas que había en 1900 con muy poca dotación se convirtiesen en las 925.000 que hay ahora con una alta dotación. Y ese es el éxito de la gestión de un organismo. Pero efectivamente la historia sigue. Vinieron el tema energético. Hablábamos de ese nexo agua, energía, ecosistemas, medio ambiente. Si es que está todo relacionado, ¿no? Al final estamos trabajando con todo a la vez. Vino la energía y entonces se construyeron infraestructuras para garantizar energía al desarrollo que había en España y por tanto nuevas presas, nuevas centrales hidroeléctricas y ahí hubo que estar a la altura. Y luego vino la preocupación sanitaria con las depuradoras, sistemas de abastecimiento aceptables y ahí también hubo una línea de trabajo tremenda para garantizar sistemas que diesen garantía de agua a todo nuestro ciclo urbano. Pero a continuación vino el tema ambiental, que es donde estamos ahora. Una sensibilidad ambiental que va creciendo a marchas forzadas porque es lo que lleva a ese bienestar deseado. Hablabas, Heba, del buscar el bienestar. Obviamente es la aspiración social de todos. Para ello hacemos acciones de mejora de garantía. Pero al final ese bienestar nos lleva también a valorar el tener un agua con una calidad ambiental determinada y cada vez somos más exigentes en ello. Tenemos que combinar, por lo tanto, la necesidad de atender a las sequías, los ciclos secos, con unas aspiraciones ambientales cada vez más fuertes. Y este es un reto en el que estamos ahora, en el caso de la cuenca del Ebro, y es un reto importantísimo y además un reto a veces de choque de sensibilidades muy importantes. Y todo es legítimo. La cosa es intentar buscar esos equilibrios del momento. Y ahí es donde ahora gran parte de los esfuerzos se nos van. Y yo creo que esta perspectiva histórica que os contaba, que es fruto de la experiencia de la propia Confederación, es muy bonito verlo así, desde esa perspectiva, pero desde luego el reto que tenemos actual y si pensamos a futuro lo que vendrá, que ni lo sabemos, pues todavía es más apasionante. Infraestructuras es una parte de la solución. Llega un momento que esa solución también se agota. Y aparece la necesidad de la mejora de la eficiencia. Ese es un concepto que ahora en el caso de la cuenca del Ebro, y en el caso de España y yo creo que me atrevería a decir de Europa, incluso del mundo, pero por hablar es un concepto que tiene una fuerza tremenda. Hablabais de soluciones como reutilización, desalación, que ciertamente según las circunstancias de cada cuenca, de cada región puede ser la opción. Aquí, por ejemplo, en España, las zonas costeras, la desalación tiene cada vez una fuerza más importante, con todas las dificultades que tiene, pero esa es la solución, la reutilización, la regeneración. Son elementos muy importantes porque como el agua que se va al mar entendemos que se pierde, pues ahí la reutilización tiene todo su valor y además son zonas con capacidad de pago importante. La cuenca del Ebro es una cuenca interior. En una cuenca interior la desalación no cabe, la regeneración, reutilización tiene poca magnitud y sobre todo en una cuenca interior hay uso de agua en cascada. Lo que uso en un sitio retorna al cauce, al acuífero, lo vuelvo a utilizar, De manera que si reutilizo el agua y me la llevo, pues el agua a lo mejor se la estoy quitando a algún usuario de aguas abajo. Por lo tanto, la gran solución a futuro para afrontar las sequías, entre otras, pero una gran solución es la mejora de la eficiencia. Es la auténtica revolución en la que estamos ahora trabajando, además de, por supuesto, la planificación de esos periodos de sequía, de inundación, que también es un elemento fundamental para el desarrollo social. Tener buenos planes de contingencia que nos permitan afrontar las dificultades con garantía de que lo hacemos cada vez mejor. Y la imagen que damos ante la sociedad es que sabemos lo que hacemos en cada momento. Yo creo que sería un poco como esas ideas clave respecto a este asunto, Enrique.
Well, thank you very much, Miguel Ángel. Time flies when you're having fun, and our guests, speakers today, have many things to say, and that is fantastic. But on the other hand, we have 4 minutes now to close the panel discussion, so not much. But I have some questions addressed to all of you now. Miguel Ángel was talking about efficiency as a measure to extend water usability in times of scarcity. But can you think of additional measures from the physical point of view? What can we do to expand the resource? What can we do to manage demand? What is the Mediterranean ready for in terms of managing scarcity? Do you have any other hints to share with us, Heba, Khaled, Miguel Ángel? It's an open question.
You start with Khaled again?
With whomever. Now it's crossfire now.
I can come in. I mean, yeah, I think enhancing the water efficiency is one of the most important aspects and elements that we all need to work on. But maybe side to side with that, we can also need to look at how we can enhance the management through water accounting approaches. I think water accounting approaches plays a very important role in understanding the systems, understanding the allocations across different sectors, not only water, understanding also the losses in the system, the return flows, which really enhances the management to a big extent if it's well understood and well monitored. And particularly if we're speaking about the interlinkages between water, energy, food, and ecosystem, we need to understand the amount of water that we have being the core element in those systems and how they are contributing, for example, to the hydrological power, to the agricultural sector, to the ecosystem environmental flows. So the water accounting approach, if it's well institutionalized and anchored within the country, I think it plays a very interesting role. Another element that I would really love to see, it's not maybe I would say fully developed in our region, is that the advancements of farmers' advisory services, actually maybe through the digital tools. Now everybody now is using cell phones and speaking about the AI and the utilization of farmer advisory services in a way that can easily reach the farmer in a very simple way, but can really provide proper decisions on the irrigation times, in the irrigation amounts required, in the use of fertilizers, which actually directly impact the yield and the production elements, will really help in also ensuring that we have a proper and efficient utilization of our water resources to a big extent. The final element, I would say, looking at ways to enhance the water productivity through the better utilization of seeds, ensuring that also we train the farmers on how to properly utilize their water, properly utilize their fertilizers, taking into account the changes in the current precipitation rates that we see, which actually affects rain-fed agriculture and requires maybe sometimes supplementary irrigation. Understanding all of these contexts to enhance the water productivity, I think it would still allow us to produce much more with much less water, and will certainly contribute also to the overall water scarcity activities and interventions that we all seek to do. Thank you.
Mind-broadening remarks, Heba, and it's time also now for Khaled, who has a contribution to make. Please.
Sure. I think that we need to envisage a paradigm shift in how we create and save water to alleviate water scarcity. One of the areas would be harnessing green water, where we need to move beyond the use of blue water from river and aquifers to optimize green water, which is the moisture stored in the soil or the rain fed agricultural water through regenerative agriculture and landscape restoration to boost food security. Also, a new area would be the atmospheric water generation, where we can scale innovative technologies that harvest water vapor from the air. We see this in the area of drinking water coming up as a technology, but we might want to also look at that for agriculture as well. And then advanced conservation and treatment technologies and systems would be also an area where we improve and enhance circular economy, advanced water treatments and reuse, and sustainable desalination with advanced saltwater desalination, and also focusing on the brine disposal and reuse. These could be areas also that can improve on water scarcity situations.
Thank you very much, Khaled. Miguel Ángel, any additional contribution on scarcity?
Hombre, por completar un poquito, aunque el mapa desde luego vaya bastante completo, pero yo quiero destacar la importancia desde nuestra experiencia de avanzar en lo que son los planes de sequía. Planes en los cuales se establezcan indicadores claros a partir de las redes de control de las que disponemos, y luego a partir de esos indicadores que nos hablan de la situación de la cuenca en nuestro caso es cada mes, qué protocolos de acción hay que hacer. Esto es muy importante, lo tenemos en España para cada organismo de cuenca y da una seguridad de que la sociedad está en buenas manos porque sabe lo que pasa en cada momento y lo que hay que hacer. Pero nosotros lo que insistimos es que estos planes los tienen que tener cada organización. En España tenemos lo que llamamos las comunidades de usuarios. Los usuarios se organizan por orígenes del agua, por los que comparten envases, comparten tomas. Eso se llama comunidad de usuarios. Es un elemento clave en la gestión del agua. No se puede entender la gestión del agua en España sin comprender esas comunidades que tienen parte de su función es administrativa también. La ley les da potestad administrativa para algunas funciones como la vigilancia del agua, el reparto del agua dentro de sus comunidades. Nosotros queremos que estos planes los haga cada comunidad de usuarios para que cada uno sea consciente desde la gestión de lo que tiene que hacer. Infraestructuras necesarias es un debate siempre encima de la mesa. Yo no sé en vuestros países si esto tiene mucha presencia o no. Nosotros se nos piden muchas nuevas infraestructuras que obviamente tienen que pasar por criterios de sostenibilidad y hay que hacer unos estudios y unas demostraciones clarísimas de que no hace daño al medio ambiente, con lo cual hay unos debates sociales tremendos. Y luego hay un tema clave que ante las sequías es qué hacemos con los nuevos usos de agua posibles. Este es un debate también que está siempre presente en cada plan, cada 6 años. ¿Qué nuevos usos vamos a autorizar? Obviamente, si tenemos que cuidar las sequías del futuro, tenemos que ser muy responsables en el agua que vamos a autorizar hoy en día. Aquí, bueno, es un tema casi daría para un webinario específico, ¿verdad? Pero hay que ser muy responsable desde toda la sociedad, administraciones incluidas, para no autorizar más usos de agua de los que luego se puedan atender, teniendo en cuenta las posibles sequías del futuro. Un tema técnicamente apasionante en el cual, desde luego, hay que poner encima de la mesa, puesto que es una cuestión trascendental.
Well, so surprisingly enough, the time is over. I need to put an end to this panel discussion. It's been very interesting, very illustrative of the problems and the challenges, and as I said before, sufficiently important so that all society is involved. It cannot be a task for men or women. It's a task for everybody. And there is plenty of work to be done. And to the young persons who are attending this webinar, you are all invited. There's work for everybody and far beyond. I only have to thank again our panelists today for their fantastic and vision of water issues today. And I beg your pardon, Manel, because I took already 5 minutes of your time. So from my part, this is all. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you, Enrique. I will share my screen to recapitulate our discussion today. So thank you very much, Enrique, for the great moderation of the session. Thanks to our audience for joining the webinar and following the discussion and for the interaction with us in the chat. Thanks again to our distinguished panelists for sharing such insightful perspectives on water governance, scarcity, and sustainable management in the Mediterranean. Special thanks to Ramzi for the introduction and for the interpreters that are helping us today. So today's discussion indeed highlighted several key points, and if I manage to mention a few, we have talked about the evolution of water governance in the region, balancing environmental protection with societal needs. We talked about practical strategies addressed to each country's context to address water scarcity, from planning and user participation to innovation measures such as the Nexus approach and the non-conventional water resources. We also mentioned the importance of integrating gender considerations and inclusive policies into water management at all levels. We also cited the significance of enhancing water efficiencies. These themes that we mentioned today, governance, innovation, sustainability, and human-centered approaches are exactly the kind of skills and knowledge that we aim to instill in the next generation of water professionals at CIHEAM Zaragoza. In this context, we have just launched the 4th edition of the Sustainable Water Management and Governance in Natural and Agricultural Environments Master of Science, which is designed to provide comprehensive training in these areas. The applications are now open, and I will share with you in the chat the link to find more information and how to apply. The program combines technical expertise, policy analysis, and practical field experience, preparing students to tackle real-world challenges in water-scarce regions like the Mediterranean area. Students will learn not only to manage water resources effectively, but also to navigate the complex intersections of environmental, social, and economic factors, the same challenges that our panelists discussed today. If I may take a minute to represent the program rapidly, the program is structured over 2 years, 120 ECTS in total. The first year is dedicated more for academic foundation, where students gain a strong grounding in water governance and policy, water economy using digital tools. The second year is dedicated for professional and research development. It focuses on research initiation and elaborating the master thesis, providing practical experience and professional development. We welcome graduates from a wide range of disciplines, including agriculture, environmental science, forestry, biology, and many more. The tuition fees are approximately 1,820 euros per year, and we have scholarships available for students from CIHEAM member countries, neighboring countries, and Latin America. That way, we make the program accessible to a broad international audience. Why choose this master? Basically, because it's a full package. The program offers advanced governance expertise at international, national, and river basin levels. We have dedicated training and specific knowledge required for engaging in international environments, advanced irrigation management, including precision irrigation and water use efficiency, leadership in environmental restoration, including governance and ecological restoration for aquatic system. Last but not least, support for rural development, encouraging rational water management that promotes economic, social, and environmental benefits. In short, with this master's program, we aim to equip students with the knowledge, skills, and leadership capacity to become innovators and decision makers in water management. If you are interested in advancing your expertise in water governance, integrated management, and international cooperation, I warmly invite you to consider joining our program. Our goal is to empower professionals like you to make a tangible impact in the Mediterranean region and beyond. I invite all of you to explore the program, engage with our faculty, and consider how this training could support your professional growth or that of your colleagues and teams. Once again, thank you for joining us today. We hope this conversation inspires further collaboration, innovation, and action in the field of water management. I would be happy to answer any question you might have and provide more information after the webinar. So here you have my email and you may contact me whenever you need. Thank you. Enrique, the floor is yours. If you have a last message you want to deliver.
I think it's a good opportunity for our panelists if they want to express a final message on the event. Khaled, any final remarks?
Well, once again, I'd like to thank CIHEAM Zaragoza for inviting us to participate in this webinar. On the topic itself, I think we covered everything. Maybe we can just add some governance matters that could be also addressed to improve the situation of water scarcity in the region, including incentives, regulatory reforms, and measurement and monitoring and accounting tools where we cannot manage what we don't measure, so we need to improve on that. Thank you very much.
Heba?
Yes, thank you very much, Enrique. As we've actually touched upon the reuse and the utilization of non-conventional water resources, and giving the topic of this year's World Water Day, I just want to say that the water reuse requires a strict adherence to a set of rules and regulations which needs to be clearly communicated to all users, including men and women. And this highlights and emphasizes the importance of gender mainstreaming, that being very important to ensure equitable access to the information and the products in a very safe way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Miguel Ángel?
Muy bien, muchas gracias, Enrique, y la organización. Bueno, dicen que la ingeniería del agua ha curado muchas más enfermedades, ha hecho más por el desarrollo humano que la propia medicina, ¿no? Ciertamente, los que trabajamos en el agua, además de la pasión que nos lleva y nos arrastra, estamos convencidos de que tenemos una responsabilidad y un compromiso hacia la sociedad, que eso es lo que nos hace trabajar día a día. Tenemos un futuro para pelear por una sostenibilidad ambiental, social, económica, energética, alimentaria, en un entorno cambiante impulsado por este cambio climático, por este desarrollo tecnológico que nos va arrastrando y cada día nos obliga a formarnos y reformarnos, y luego también en esquemas de gobernanza que evolucionan de la misma manera. Por lo tanto, yo estoy encantado de haber participado en el Día Mundial del Agua, con el CIEAM, con todos vosotros, y animo a todos los participantes que, bueno, pues que quieran seguir trabajar en este sector, pues les animo, porque creo que tienes un futuro realmente que te llena la vida, ¿no? Simplemente pues terminar con estas palabras.
Muchas gracias.
So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and hope to see you in future collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.